Howdy, San Diego, and welcome back to Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Today, I'm joined by one of the most dedicated individuals I've crossed paths with. He's a U.S. Marine veteran, a full-time cowboy, a realtor rounding up sellers and buyers, and always leading with integrity to accomplish the mission. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to my brother, my friend, Xavier Zamora.
Howdy, everybody. Thank you, Brian, for having me here.
What's up, bro? We're here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, bro. Happy Tuesday, man.
Happy Tuesday.
So tell us, man, I've been very excited to finally, do a formal podcast together. We've been, recording some content here and there, and I really wanted to start off with, bro. I did some digging, and one of the things that stood out to me that I would, feel that it's a really good place to start is you're the first in your family to do a lot of things, whether it was going to the Marines, becoming a realtor, but it looks like you're pioneering the way for, the rest of your family to have an example to look up to. Tell us a little bit about, bring us into your life and let us know, a little bit behind who Xavier is behind the curtain and what propels you to be who you are today, bro.
Oh, man, I don't even know where to start. A lot of it, boils down to my childhood, grew up with, obviously, the military factor was driven from my father. My father was in the Navy for about 28 years, 29 in counting if you count the months.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it all started off with, my childhood, just growing up with my brothers. I was the youngest one.
Okay.
My mom had me at the age of 42, and, I grew up with an older generation. So I feel like a mix of all that had a play in my life, especially with my father. Part of the reason I joined the military was because of him. I grew up with a pretty tough childhood. Try not to cry.
Nah, you're good, man. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough childhood, because at a young age, you're not able to understand the effects of war or what war takes from a person. And my dad was doing back-to-back combat tours and all that. And, the military and war had an effect on him mentally. So growing up, I always had this perception of, why is he like this? Why is he so mean? Until later on down in life when I joined the military and I decided to take that path to understand why he was the way he was. And that was part of the reason why I joined the military.
That's powerful, bro. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, yeah, of course. And, being the first one to join the military, obviously, my parents were super supportive, super, like, hey, go to college, strive to be the best you can be. And all of my brothers ended up going to college. My oldest brother, second oldest, and my sister. But I decided to take the route of, I want to join the military. My mom hated me for that.
I can see that, bro.
Yeah, she's like, no, why is,
You're the baby.
Yeah, I was the baby, and that's part of the reason why I joined the military. And obviously being the first, and then as I did my time in the military, I understood why my father was the way he was and all that. And it really takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
And right before shipping off to boot camp, I made my amends with my father, and I told him, I understand now. I understand that, you're no matter what, you're still going to be my father. But everything that I went through growing up, I won't forget, but I could learn from it. And because of you, I learned a lot. It was one of those experiences where I wish no other person has to go through, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that's what I took away from it. At that age, I had realized that I lost my dad a long time ago. And what was left of him was the residual effects of war. And all throughout my military career, I took that with me. I'm the first one to join the family, from my family, to join the military alongside with my father. I understand why he was the way he was. I had high expectations from everybody around me, my brothers, because essentially when I enlisted in the military, you know, I got told like, go to college, don't be dumb, this, that, and that. You're not gonna make it. But just hearing that you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna make it, you're crazy, this, that, and that pushed me to strive harder.
Yeah.
And that's why every single thing I did in the military, I did it to the best of my ability, if not better. If I got told, fill up 5 sandbags, I filled up 10. It's that hunger mentality. And I feel like that really pushed me all throughout my career, which is why I got promoted so fast. And just hearing people doubt, hearing people, oh, you're not going to promote that fast. You're crazy. You just got here. Watch me. That hungry mentality. And now going into real estate, being the first realtor, that was a mix of things. Mix of my father-in-law, mix of my childhood, and mix of my experiences in the military. Especially, I mean, we've talked about this in the past where I wanted to buy a VA home loan. None of my chain of command knew anything about it. That experience helped me find my new purpose, transitioning. And my childhood part, I learned these values of if you want it, work for it. And growing up, if I wanted a new toy, if I wanted new shoes, what I'd do is ride my skateboard to the trolley station right there in Palomar.
Yes, sir.
Palm Avenue. Hop on the trolley, go all the way to the Old Town Station, and skateboard all the way to Kobe swap meet. And then I'd walk up and down the lines at 4 or 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning when people were setting up and be like, hey, you need help? And I would win. Every person I'd earn 60, 80 here, 40 here, just to help them set up in the morning. And I kind of learned that hungry and hustle mentality at a young age.
Wow. So based on everything you just said, it sounds like you knew what the storm brought. You jumped right into the eye of the storm and said, hey, I'm looking for answers. One of the things I admire is that, you know, you knew what you were going up against. You knew what it did to you, and you were able to overcome all that. It also sounds like when people doubt you, when people say, no, you can't, it fuels you. And it almost propels you to want to do even more, or actually, you know, rub it in their face in a positive way because, you know, it's that fire in you that, oh, you say I can't? Well, watch me.
Yeah.
And then that's very admirable because not a lot of people can, you know, block out that noise and really zone in what they're going after. Now, it's crazy because you literally went from boots to business, from corpse to keys. So what's one of the lessons you carry with you day in and day out that, you know, you learned in the military that now you transferred over to your business?
One of the things I learned in the military that I transferred to my business is, excuse my language.
No, please, on the contrary.
The give a fuck.
Yes.
The give a fuck factor. This plays into so many aspects in the military and in this industry. The give a fuck factor is you have to care enough to have the discipline to wake up every single morning, set up your day, set up a schedule, send emails, do the things people don't want to do, which is door knocking, cold call. Like, you have to care enough to do all of this. And if you don't care enough, I'm not saying care enough to where it's dragging you down in life, where you're getting stressed out, overworking, burning yourself out, but care enough. Care enough for your clients, care enough about you, care enough about what you are doing, because believe it or not, you know, a lot of realtors don't think of it, you know, this way, but the things we do in this industry has an impact in people's lives.
Yeah, 100%.
And, you know, that's one thing I took away from the military. Give a fuck.
No, I mean, and it shows, bro. I mean, you do everything with purpose, and I think it's that purpose behind what you do that really shows that emotion that you care, that emotion that you're willing to go above and beyond. And I think it's natural for people to feel that, you know, when they're in a giving state of mind or where they're in a giving, way of being. So I think that's one of the things that I think it's the easiest way to just transfer over and break into any business is, you know, just be a good person. Because, you know, I love what you said about give a fuck mentality. right now everybody has a zero fucks mentality.
Yeah.
So as soon as you brought that up, I'm like, dude, it's crazy because it's like in a world where nobody cares, the people that do care and are genuine about it, it bleeds out through you, bro. And people like that. And people want to surround themselves around people like that. So moving forward, bro, I see this hat in front of us. Tell me what the hat symbolizes for you and what that has, just became in your business and life.
Oh man. So story behind the hat, right? For me, it symbolizes, not just a brand, but a lifestyle. Cowboys, the cowboy lifestyle, like in Mexico,
Sí.
charros, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican version of cowboys.
Yeah.
They are known for standing by the word, being respectable gentlemen, right? Same thing with cowboys. Here in the States, cowboys are knuckle draggers, bull riders, but we stand by our word. We do what we're told, and if we say something to you, we mean it. And for me, this hat is part of the driving factor of my business. Story behind it of why my brand became the Cowboy Hat Guy is when I first started in this industry, I always wore my cowboy hat, always wore, the cowboy attire. And when it came down to realtors, clients, everybody, nobody remembered me by Xavier Zamora.
Yeah.
Everybody remembered me as oh, wait, you're the cowboy hat guy. I remember. And it went from clients to realtors. Oh, hey, cowboy hat guy, or hey, cowboy, how you doing? So it kind of just stuck. I'm like, there it is. That's it. The cowboy hat guy.
And it's authentic. A lot of people, I feel that, shy away from, really embodying something that they're behind, where in reality, it almost fits like, your whole persona. And that in itself is what I feel helps you connect with people on a genuine level, be able to let people know this is me. Like, hey, you're getting what you see. Like, for somebody to show up like the first time we met, you're really full cowboy hat. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, all right, bro. I could get behind that because with me, I'm so passionate about, my things. I love the podcast. I love talking to people that when I see somebody else share that same feeling, have that same experience, that's awesome, bro. That's the best feeling. Like, like my girl was telling me the other day, she's like, yeah, I just want people to, feel and experience that exact same feeling I get when I do this. And that stuck with me because I was like, well, isn't that what we all just like connect over? Like, that's the reason why people, get along, because we share the exact same things, the same connection. And that's very powerful, I feel, in our business, because not everybody is going to connect with everybody. But in the world where you can, be that person that is a connector, it's like almost like, breathtaking, bro.
100%. That's part of the reason why I decided to get rid of my second phone. When I first started off, I wanted to, kind of one of the things I took away from the Marine Corps is, okay, I got to learn how to separate my work life, my personal life. And I brought that to me into this industry. I had a work phone and I had a personal phone. But then later on down the line, I'm like, why am I separating my true self and creating a persona for whenever I'm out? That's just going to drain me because I'm just doubling on the energy. Mm-hmm. And I decided to get rid of that business phone and say, you know what? I'm only going to keep my own personal phone. Whatever my clients get is going to be my personal number. And, they're going to get me.
Yeah.
Not just Xavier Zamarron, another realtor. And that's where I connected really, and I fell in love to what I do now. Like, work isn't work to me. Work is fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just the other day, we were able to get out in Coronado, record some videos, some content. Like, that's work, and a lot of people, take that for granted. And I love, the opportunity that I have being able to help people. But it just sounds like, being in real estate really helps you be who you are. And do you feel that when you first start in real estate, you almost try to be someone that you're not because you think that that's what you need to be? But as you start growing in your career, you start getting more comfortable within your own skin in the industry that you're in, you start to realize that the more that you try to be something you're not, the more that you start resenting certain things that you do, the more that you don't want to do those activities. But I've realized that, once you really give yourself the opportunity to be you and cold-heartedly not, give a fuck I think that's when people say, hey, that's someone that I could get behind.
Yeah.
What was it like, breaking into the scene? Give us a little bit of a, breakdown of where you started, how you started, and, where you're heading right now.
Okay, so where I started, it all started while I was doing, general contracting
Okay.
on the weekends to make a quick buck. It was either if I didn't have gigs for mariachi, because I did mariachi too.
Yeah.
I would do.
And I want to get into that, bro. So
yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't mariachi, I was doing general contracting on the side to make, extra money on the weekends. Mm-hmm. I got to a point in my career where I'm like, maybe going out, wasting my whole entire paycheck at gas lamp or on alcohol to party on the weekends isn't the best thing to do. I'm just wasting my time. What am I getting from it? Mm. So I ended up going that route. And later on down the line, I ended up, sitting down talking with my father-in-law. I'm like, hey, I got to a point in my career where it got too political. I don't really want to keep on doing this. What can I do to help you out? Because he does general contracting.
And is this what you mean, while you were in the service, that you're like, hey, I think things are kind of, I want to, take a different direction?
Yes.
Okay.
And part of what he said, get your real estate license. I'm like, why don't I get my general contractor's license? Why don't I, try to help you? Or
Mijo,
go, or go learn, how to lay down cement or, a trade. He said, no, get your real estate license. He's all like, remember what happened to you. Remember how hard that transition is going to be. Get your real estate license. I said, okay. I started looking into it. And then the more I researched it, I fell in love with the idea. I'm like, okay, cool. Some people get into real estate for quick money, but some people genuinely get into real estate to help people. And that's where I connected the most. And as my contract went on and towards the end, the military has a program called Skill Bridge.
Yeah, please, can you let the audience know? Because I think that's such a cool option if you're able to, do that.
Yeah, so essentially Skill Bridge is a program within the military, whether if it's Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, I guess we'll say Coast Guard. But, Space Force too. That's
you're right. Hey.
Yeah, so it's a program essentially which it has to be signed off by your chain of command, your commanding officer, and they allow you to exit out your contract anywhere between 90 to 180 days. And within those 90 to 180 days, you're learning a new skill. And in this case, it was real estate. And it's a really good program because, one, you're not just getting thrown into the real life.
Yeah.
Let's face it, military life compared to real life,
two completely different worlds.
Yeah, two completely different worlds. And during that time, you are essentially still getting a paycheck from the military.
Yeah.
You're still learning. So by the time your contract officially ends, you already have that new skill learned. And 9 out of 10 times, depending on how good the Skill Bridge program is, you're already lined up for a job. Wow. So it's an easy transition.
So it doesn't need to be just real estate. It could be any business.
Any business. It could even be from tradesmanship.
Oh, nice.
To police cool. academies, CHP, CBP, 3-letter agencies. The Skill Bridge, I recommend for the audience if they're active duty military to go on the Skill Bridge website and just take a look at all the different opportunities in every single state.
That's a really good point, and I'm glad you brought that up because I feel a lot of young military people, they go in the service, they're not sure what they're able to do, but I think that's a perfect opportunity to be able to leverage your time and be able to then fall into something that you can fall in love with. And I think it's about looking at life in ways that you can find opportunities and not so necessarily saying I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Hey, some people love and make a military a career and they're in there 20 years plus. But I think that Skill Bridge offers that out where it's like, you want to go do something, you want to be something more, you want to excel, you want to get into business, you have all these tools. I think that's really cool that they offer that. And if you're young or you're on your way out, that's definitely something that you should be looking into. Now, you mentioned something about the transition. How difficult is it? I mean, you lived it firsthand, from, being in the mode of deploying, being in the mode of living on the barracks, being in the mode of, being, away for a long time from your family and friends, away from people at times alone. Share with us the emotions. Share with me, what feelings and what thoughts came in your mind from when you were in to then, oh, shoot, I'm out now. This is the real world.
It, man, it was a complete 360, especially in the way of life. I am going to say when military leaders say have a plan when you get out, have a plan, because at least for me, the transition hit hard, but not as hard as others. Just because I was able to find my purpose a little bit faster. And that transition, I mean, the amount of emotions I felt from, oh shoot, I'm really going from a paycheck every single 1st and the 15th every single 2 weeks to a commission-based paycheck. It was stressful. I experienced depression during that transition because it was hard. I went from seeing, people I grew up with, and I say grow up because these are people that I was with for the past 3, 4, 5 years of my life, and we went through experiences that not a lot of people get to go through together. And it, like we have a saying, when you get out, you're going to miss the clowns, but not the circus.
I like that. You always have these analogies, bro, and they always just hit at a perfect time.
And, that the transition really, it was hard. There's, times where I would just cry to my therapist. I'm like, I don't know why I feel this way. Is it normal? And that's where, all the emotions came through. And when I finally exited out, it was a mix of emotions too.
Wow.
Because when I picked up my DD-214, I'm like, I'm a free man, finally. But then as time went on, I'm like, dang, I'm not going to see my friends anymore. It's just that complete 360 of your life where you went from being part of a team, being part of a family to it's like, okay, bye.
Wow.
Just night and day difference.
And I can see how that could be very negative for some people that aren't mentally equipped, emotionally equipped to be, on their own from, being attached to a unit for so long, that it's almost as if you need to have that plan that you talked about, because like the one thing that I get from everything that you were mentioning right now is that purpose is so important.
Yes.
Because when you lose everything and you have nothing, what's your purpose? What do you stand for? And for me, when I find purpose, like, just as of recently, bro, I've been working on changing my identity, meaning that I want to change my priorities, from being so short-minded to long-term mindset where, I'm building for the future of my kids, for where I'm, doing things now that I'm going to work on today so that tomorrow they could sprout, harvest. Planting the seeds today so that I could harvest at a different season for my family. And I think that, having the purpose and anchoring it is very powerful to anybody, because then you don't feel lost in the world where there's so many distractions, so many chaos, so many crap. Like right now I'm in this place of clarity where I know what my purpose is. I know what my drive is. And I get up every day with that want to just go out and eat the world. And I really encourage people to find what it is that stimulates your wants, your needs, and build on that, because I feel that so many people sell themselves short, take on bad habits, and then just completely lose their clear mindset to be able to do anything. Mm-hmm. What advice do you give to people in this situation that are transitioning that might feel a little bit lost?
I would say you're not alone. You are not alone. It may feel that way, but we have this. Just pick it up, call your buddies. Although it may feel like you're saying goodbye forever, the relationships you build, the brotherhood you build, and sisterhood you build in the military is a lifelong brother or sisterhood. You are not alone. That is my advice. Pick up the phone, call somebody, because I can't tell you, how many friends of mine I have lost to suicide. And it's tough. It doesn't get old. That feeling always hurts. And I feel like that transition is going to be the hardest transitions in their life. But my advice is, letting them know that you are not alone. Someone is always going to be there for you, and someone is always going to have an ear open for you so you could talk. And sometimes, just talking helps you figure out your new purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've come to realize that at times whenever, you're talking to people or people are talking to you, they just need to be heard.
Yes.
Like I've been making it more of a habit to listen and not listen to reply back, because sometimes people don't want you to reply back with the solution that they themselves probably already know and are avoiding it, but rather want to hear what it sounds out loud for themselves, so that they can themselves put it together and say like, okay, I knew I needed to make this choice. I just needed to have someone hear me out.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to something you mentioned earlier, you said you wanted to buy a house, but there was really no information. There was no resources that really gave you a clear path. Share with us your experience of what it was buying your first house. What emotions came about, and what you would do differently if you had a second chance of buying a house for the first time again.
Ooh, the experience was actually a pretty good experience.
Nice.
Just finding the right person who knew their stuff, which I really resonated with. And honestly, I wouldn't do anything differently. I would do everything the exact same way I did, just because, I got to a point where I exhausted all of my resources. I went through everybody in my chain of command, asked everybody that I knew, and nobody knew anything until I met this one guy.
Yeah.
And he gave me the keys to it. And also on top of that, just self-educating, trying to research, okay, VA home loan. I went on the VA's website and searched it up. I'm like, okay, kind of vague. And then I ended up going on TikTok, looking at TikToks, Instagram, looking at Instagram, and just seeing a whole bunch of different realtors, lenders talking about the VA home loan. And, the buying process was pretty flat out simple.
Yeah.
I would do it all over again the same way, because I feel like that way helped me learn.
Give me your thoughts on this and, break it down. Do you feel that sometimes in life we have to go through tough situations, difficult obstacles to really find the purpose and the actual answer of what you're looking for?
Yes. I feel like if you're given something in your hand, you're not going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just like if I was to give you a car, you're probably not going to take care of it as good.
I'll appreciate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But if you're working day and night for your car, you're going to love your car. You're going to take care of it. You're going to wash it every single week. You're going to appreciate it more. I feel like going through tough times in life helps you appreciate things better. Just like, let me give you an example. My time in the military, I looked at a bed as a normal bed. Yeah. I looked at a shower as, it's just another shower. But when it came down to living in a fighting hole for a week, 2 weeks in the rain, just throwing your poncho over you so you could stay a little bit dry, you really start to appreciate that bed. When you can't shower for a month, 2 months, you really start to appreciate that shower, because you're washing your hair with hand sanitizer or showering with baby wipes. You appreciate the little things in life. And I feel like those experiences, those tough experiences, helps you appreciate what you get a little bit more.
So going in a little bit deeper on that, what would you say is a moment where you've had a tough experience, but it was more of a fail forward and I learned from it?
Real estate or military?
Just in general, bro, in life.
Life. There's so many experiences. Oh man. I'd honestly say my time in the military when I was a leader. When I first became a non-commissioned officer, I had this perception of leadership where it's I'm the leader, you're going to do what you're told. I don't care about your feelings. You're going to do it no matter what. And if you give me talk back, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for your sins.
Sounds like a dictator, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And I failed. I lost respect for my troops. I lost friends. Just for that sense of leadership that I had, right? Wow. And I failed. I failed as a leader at that time until I sat down, spoke with all my troops and said, hey, I critique you guys on what you could do better. What could I do better for you guys? And that's where it brought up. And at that point, when everybody was telling me like, oh, you're an asshole, you're this, you're that, you could work on this, be a little bit more human. That's where I realized, like, shoot, I'm failing as a leader, but I failed to learn from it. And after that, I became a little bit more human. I became a understanding, like, okay, Marine Corps, we can't be like, hoorah, like 24/7. We're human at the end of the day. You got to be able to learn how to flip that switch. So,
you know what would have been funny? You're like, yeah, so I let them talk, and after that, I made their all asses running. Yeah, I just wanted to see what they really thought.
I was just curious, man. We went for like a 10-mile run after that.
No, but sticking to that, that subject of leadership, I, in my little world at home, I lead two little men. Yeah. Right? And before, and this is just like 3 months before, I would be like, hey, you need to do this. Hey, I need you to do that. Hey, don't do that. Stop doing that. Get over here. No, get up, down from there. And I would realize, bro, that I'd get tired. I'd lose energy. And did they listen? Nope. Negative. And then I started thinking, well, what is it? Are they don't respect me? Do they not what, these are my kids. Like, they have to listen to me. Mm-hmm. So I started taking a different approach these last couple of months. And rather than scolding them and telling them what to do, I show them. I do it myself. I don't ask for them, but I start giving them the examples of what should be done and how things should be getting accomplished. And I noticed that just by me cleaning up, doing my things and not telling them what to do, they by themselves start following suit and started picking up things. Dad, what are you doing? Hey, takes us to the trash. But then I realized, I'm like, well, rather than try to scold them and rather than try to tell someone what to do, why don't I just focus on what I could do? And why don't I be the example? Why don't I do what I want to, see in the house or in a relationship, whatever it might be? Like, why don't I work on me? And rather than try to tell somebody what to do, why don't I lead myself better and give that example rather than tell people what to do? Because I don't like getting told what to do, so I can only imagine what people think when someone's telling them, hey, you need to do this, and you're not asking them in a way where, they want to be motivated to do it.
Yeah, you're essentially leading by example.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think that's something that gets, lost in between the communication because, you think you're doing your job and it's like, yo, like I'm leading you guys, but in reality, are you? And I think that's something that you have to look down on yourself and just in general, are you leading your life in the way that you want to be? If you're not leading a team, you're not leading a family, well, are you talking to yourself in a way where that's, motivating yourself? Are you leading yourself to be, somebody that has good habits, somebody that respects himself, somebody that's, has integrity and is doing the right thing when nobody's, giving him those kudos?
Yeah. Just doing the right thing when nobody's watching.
100%, bro. So one of the things that I that want to get your pulse on is, what do you think the market is doing right now, and what advice can you give to first-time sellers and first-time buyers?
First-time sellers, first-time buyers. So this market is a weird one. It's kind of similar to last year's market, where it's a seasonal market.
Yeah,
but it seems like there's almost been a sudden halt. If not, there's been a sense of the unknown, which is causing people to like not want to do anything.
Yeah, I do see that.
It's, the tariff talks, the people are scared to move forward because of the what ifs.
Yeah.
My advice for sellers, at least in the market we have seen, the house you see that's sold across the street may not be what your house is worth.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be real with ourselves. We have to be realistic.
Yes.
If you want to sell your house, if you're looking to sell your house, speak with a knowledgeable realtor in your market and someone that is going to put the same amount of work that you put into your house. Mm-hmm. Someone that cares, not just to sell your house or they're just a commission breath agent, but someone that is going to care for your house the same way you cared for your house. Someone that has that respect.
Give me an example of how that looks like for somebody.
Doing the work. Someone who's willing, someone who knows how much your house means to you, someone who's not scared to, check someone who's disrespecting your house. Because obviously if it's still owner occupied, you're going to be holding open houses and you're going to have people coming in and out of your house while your personal stuff is still there. On top of that, when it comes down to the selling part, someone who's willing to go around the neighborhood and door knock, do things that other people aren't willing to do. Someone that cares enough to be like, hey, maybe one of the neighbors might be a potential, or they might know someone who's looking.
Yeah.
They're putting that effort to make sure they get you where you want to be. And just someone who's being real with you, not throwing a high in the sky listing price, like, oh yeah, the house across the street sold for $1 million. Yours could sell 1 million when in reality it could either be more or less.
Yeah.
It's just figuring it out. And my advice for buyers right now, first time home buyers, the three main things is setting your finances up, make sure you pay down any debt, and especially speak with the lender.
Yeah.
Get pre-qualified so you know where you're standing at and you at least know what you could do to improve.
Yeah, I feel that one right there is the one that I've been seeing a lot of mental obstacles on, where if you're making anywhere between, let's say, 90,000 to, upwards of, 150 combined income, you should be sitting down and really kind of mapping out what a purchase in your life looks like. I'm not saying you need to buy at that certain moment in those 3 months within that year, but it's going to let you know exactly what you're able to afford, how much that payment looks like. And then that right there is going to take away all those doubts of you like, hey, I can't afford it. Oh, it's going to be too expensive. It gives you a clear path to understand your situation, to know what needs to be done, to know how things could be done. And more than anything, it prepares you. And I feel that right now, it may not be the best time to buy for everybody, but it is the best time for everybody to get ready to buy. Yes. Be ready to move quickly if you have that opportunity. And I think a lot of people are shying away from that because of past experience of family members, friends, or just things that they're hearing out in the media. The media is going to put a lot of headlines to just, get a hook, get someone to bite, get someone to read. Yep. But if you notice in between all these articles that they do add these, crazy negative headlines, at the bottom and in between the small print, the fine line, they say, what's actually happening, and it's very situational. Yeah, it is expensive, but if you have this type of income, if you're in this situation, then it is something that you should be, opting to consider.
Yes.
And I think that's very important for people here in San Diego to understand that, yes, it's expensive, but it's not as expensive as it may be seen. There's different ways to skin the cat. You can buy with your family. You can combine incomes. You could get gifts from family members, use city programs to subsidize down payments. Mm-hmm. Point being is that there's multiple options, but if you don't take a decision, you have no options.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of people think that it's a one size fits all.
No,
and it's not.
I couldn't argue against that so much. It's like it's customizable.
Yeah. No. Yeah, like a lot of people take other people's experiences for their own, and it's like, no,
you can use them as reference points.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. But it's not it's not where you're at.
No, results may vary.
Hey, I'm gonna just start putting that on all my advertising. Hey, results may vary. Thank you so much. And if you want to follow up for a call, 619-601.
Oh man.
So when we first spoke, bro, I asked about your goals, and you were telling me that you have a goal to help 200,000 people get into a house.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, what mindset you need to accomplish that goal, what habits need to be embodied, and how you're going about it right now, bro.
Yeah, so my goal is to put at least 200,000 first-time home buyers or families, military families into a house by 2035. And the mentality I have for that is, okay, it's a 200,000's a
you're pushing numbers, my boy.
I'm pushing numbers, but the way I think of it, if God gave me this dream, this mentality, this dream, then why do I have it if it's not
I just
possible?
got the chills, bro.
And I carry God with me a lot throughout this journey. I say it's a journey because a lot of people think of real estate as quick cash or as a quick gain, but it's a long-term game. And once you come into senses with that, just taking it day by day, doing what you got to do the things that people don't like to do, it's possible. Yeah. I mean, shoot, who would have thought years ago that we would have cameras that are digitalized, or who would have thought we would have had light, or microphones that through sound waves gets converted into a form of data that gets converted into a
form of communication.
Yeah, it's like all of this stuff people thought would be impossible, but it was made possible by the right people with the right mentality.
I'm right there with you, bro.
So that's the way I'm taking it mentally. What I'm doing every single day is I'm doing, especially in today's market, you got to work twice as hard. And what I'm doing to work twice as hard, I'm holding open houses. I'm door knocking. If I'm driving around, I try to talk to at least everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Even at a Starbucks. If I'm waiting in line, I talk to the person behind me and the person behind them and just try to make conversation because, real estate is not just about selling homes. It's about building connections. It's about networking. Because later on down the line, who knows? They might be a family looking to buy a house. And the way I'm setting myself up to achieve that goal is by doing the things people don't like doing, on top of the things that people like to do. And obviously doing double of that.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm honestly going by it.
No, to me it sounds like you're working 3 times as hard but 4 times smarter. And the way that I look at it is like, well, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you shoot for 200K, dude, you do half of that, you do a quarter of that, bro, you're still doing pretty damn fine.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of, the mindset that you embody along that journey that really is what, I think pays it back, because you're just out there striving every day in, day out. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people can really get behind, is that you don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the most equipped person. You just have to be the most resilient, consistent, show in when you don't want to show up. Show up when you don't want to show up, and be there.
Yeah. And honestly, be human.
Yeah.
Be human. If you feel tired, sleep an extra hour. Sleep an extra 2 hours. You're human. Your body's tired. It's your body's way of telling you, like, hey, you got to take a step back. and also give time to your family. You know, we all have families, and
Yeah, I hear you that.
nothing is ever going to be urgent unless it's truly urgent, like
Yeah.
Hasbro.
Hey, I gotta go, bro.
Yep. But yeah, you know, that's part of it. And I like you said, I shot for a really high goal, but if I get half of that, I got
Oh shit, you got 100,000 fucking houses sold.
yeah. It's like, okay.
Nah, I hear you, bro. So what would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
Best pieces of advice. There are two that I live by and I will die by.
Let's hear them.
First one, you get what you give. That one is always going to be the one I will always live by. What I mean by you get what you give is if you're gonna give kindness, you're gonna get it back. You know, if you do things with passion and not maliciously, you're gonna receive that back. I'm a huge believer in good and bad karma. But if you're gonna give, you know, a disgusting attitude, if you're gonna give hatred, if you're gonna give, you know, shit to people, you're gonna receive that back because you're attracting that type of energy. You're opening those doors. So that's one of the best pieces of advice that I received. And the second piece of advice was people will have a perception of you and try to misguide you. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to decide what you decide to build for yourself. If the CEO of Amazon tells you, hey, you're going to be nothing, you're going to be that, it's just another person. But if you decide to say, okay, I'm going to be someone. I want to be someone. I want to be just like you or better than you. That's where mentality changes. And I will forever take that piece of advice with me all throughout life.
You leave me speechless, bro. Nah, but it's true. You cultivate the energy that you give out, you know? So whatever energy you're building, you're going to get that energy right back. And I think the perception of who you are to anybody else is just that, their perception, their opinion. And you don't take those opinions or perceptions to the bank and deposit them. So why would you take them for seriousness? Javier, thank you so much, bro. I could keep on going. I think there was so much wisdom. I mean, literally, like, I'm definitely excited to run this one back. One of the things that I am excited to say is that, you know, in these next 3 months, I'm practicing a lot of that energy that you talked about, you know, serving people, you know, above and beyond, you know, doing more than what I'm asked for, more than I can. If I could do a little bit more, do 3 times more. Because my goal is that if I serve people and I do it genuinely from my heart, there's absolutely no way that I don't get anything back. And I'm not asking for, hey, I'm becoming a millionaire and I want to do this. I just genuinely want to send that energy of I'm helping, I'm here to help, and just cultivate on that. Mm-hmm. And down the line, I'll be able to harvest something that, you know, I was able to build on, a positive energy, a positive, you know, community. And I think that's a lot of what people can do nowadays. You know, surround yourself with people that, you know, give you energy more than anything. So before we log off, bro, is there anything that you want me to highlight that we didn't get to touch on that you want to, you know, just share the spotlight, share to the audience? Like, please let us know, bro.
Oh, mariachi.
Oh,
we forgot about mariachi, bro.
Okay. Before we log on, bro, tell us about your mariachi experiences, bro. Tell us how that began and, you know, what that is in your life, bro. I mean, it's a whole culture.
Dude, it's a huge part of my life. I grew up around mariachis.
Yeah.
My brothers, my sisters, my mom. I've been playing the trumpet since the age of 5. And
wow.
I'm super passionate about, I don't know if you see, but
I can tell. Mariachi. I feel it, bro.
I'm super passionate about mariachi because especially growing up, it was like my escape from the real world. I found a passion. Mariachi, like some of the songs I love mariachi so much because the songs date way back and they tell a story. I don't know if you heard Juan Gabriel's song Amor Eterno.
Yeah.
It tells a story, and you feel it, especially the live version where he's crying. He's genuinely speaking from his heart. He means what he sings. And that's what I love about mariachi music. And man, it honestly taught me the young hustle because I started gigging on the weekends.
Yeah,
making some money. It's like I'm 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, and I'm playing mariachi, making my own money. It's like, it's good. And just the people you meet along the way, too, and the experiences. Man, let me tell you about the competitions.
I hear you, bro. Oh, my God.
Like being on a stage. Imagine you're 15 years old being on a stage in front of thousands of people performing. It's scary, but it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the emotion, the nervousness, the anxieties you get while, you're on there. One chord could mess a whole beat up, and you're just there dialed in.
Dude, that's the scary part about the trumpet. You mess up. and you crack. It's so noticeable. It's like, I'm like, oh.
One of the things just in general that I appreciate about music, and truth be told, bro, I'm not the most, music in tune. Like, I listened to a playlist from 5 years ago and I probably still just put those songs on repeat. But one of the things that music does for me is the power of the words. Yes. The power of the transition of the energy through the words. And there's times that I listen to music, and the reason why I only listen to a set amount of songs is because each song has a certain wavelength that allows me to go into that mindset. And I know probably people look at it from like, well, okay, bro, I just listen to music because music's dope and it's makes me feel cool.
You listen to Eminem, don't you?
Oh, bro, but I listen to like to like, if I'm listening to music, it has to move me. It has to make me feel some sort of emotion. I can't listen to this trap rap like type things. Like it sounds good, but then I start listening to the lyrics. I'm huge on lyrics. If the lyrics don't match the beat, unless it's an EDM song, then I'm really not interested. And I'm very lyrical, so a lot of the people I listen to, like, they have great lyrics. I listen to Big Sean a lot. A lot of people don't like him, but he's very spiritual in the way that he speaks. Country or hip hop?
Country.
There it is. All right, bro. Well, hey, we'll definitely have to run it back. I'm excited to keep, doing videos. And we actually do have, another podcast that we're working on, Wrangling Minds, that, we are going to be, putting out there for people to also enjoy and, get a different perspective of what we're doing out here in San Diego.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. And, man, let's see what we cover on the next one.
Yeah, bro. I'm excited to see Gaylord Pacific Hotel. Let's go check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate Xavier coming in, sharing his story, sharing his experiences in becoming a mariachi, to general contracting, to the missions in the Marines. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate everything that you shared, your wisdom, and I'm looking forward to running it back in a few months and seeing where you're at.
Likewise, brother. Thank you so much for having me, and Semper Fi, you guys.
There it is, guys. Thank you so much. See you guys.